Hello, all. Dr. Fox back here with your weekend update. It sounds like, at least I hope, if I did all the additives right, I think we finally got you a much better microphone sound coming out of this for you. We've had to play with it. I didn't realize last weekend's was really hard to hear, and I didn't realize I had accidentally left the microphone on the little camera for Miss Mora that you guys would have to kind of squint to see. There's not a lot of light over there where she's all cuddled. I'm trying to do this while she's sleepy time. So we've got a lot of things to cover. We have the 6-mount sub-mount. We're going to, of course, talk about our Transformer reveal this week. Dragonflight Alpha is out for some people. And then, of course, we have some discussions about Dragon Riding IO customizations. We'll get into some other mount mentions and a few other things. Let's go, huh? Why don't we jump into this, shan't we? Dr. Fox back here with you with the weekend update. First off, let me get reconnected for that as we pull ourselves back in because I've literally been leaving that in the background for that. But 6 months sub. If you sub for another 6 months, I pretty much tend to almost religiously at this point, no pun intended. So I usually get that one, but it is available on the shop if you don't want to do the 6 months as well. To me, it kind of reminds me of almost like a dragon worm type that, and I'm sorry I'm not showing that on camera at the mere moment here. If we go in here and show it, but it's almost like a leviathan worm. It really reminded me of sort of a dragon mount, that snake mount type that would be down in like Nazdajar or something along those variations or those lines as well. But if we take a look at that, you can see we have, there's the great worm right there. And of course my character's inside, so you can't really do that inside. There it goes. There we go. Usually I do a separate video on the sub one. A lot of times horrible people will comment and go, it's people like you who get the mount. I'm like, it's included in the 6-month sub. Why do you have to have such an issue with it? I'm just showing you. It's almost like they're trying to discourage you from even subbing the game anymore. With that said, Dragonflight Alpha is out. Sadly, I don't have that yet. There is a website link that you can sign up for it. A lot of folks have done that, obviously, prior. A lot of times, if you're a streamer or whatnot, they tend to more often get it. I'm not saying that verbatim. I know many people that are non-streamers that will quickly jump to a conclusion and write in the comments, Dr. Fox, I'm not a streamer and I got it. Or it all, I mean, there's a lot of factors involved. I'm just saying this is what we tend to see quite often. If you have got it as alpha and you're not a streamer, please share it with me. I know there's a lot of folks that aren't streamers that are getting access to it right now. So I'm glad, but sadly, I'm another video content creator around that focuses around WoW, and sadly, I still can't get access to it. But that's the story for a different day because we got maybe what, yay, 10 views. No, I'm grateful for you few folks that stick around and look forward to me and send me wonderful emails. That we just look forward to hearing your voice every week, Dr. Fox. Thank you for hanging in there and holding out. And I'm sorry, I wish it was more of a better situation, but I'm doing the best I can over here, and hopefully I can bring some news, even though a lot of this news tends to be a bit older news, most often when I was reporting it for a while because there was this difficult internet circumstance that kind of pulled it back. But as I said, I've tried to jump in here when I can and try to stay up on a lot of it. Dragonflight Alpha is now out. A lot of folks have been plugging away at that, as I just previously mentioned. And they're doing a lot of things within that. And from that mention prior, a lot of the things we see a lot of folks talking about right now is like the UI, how it looks, allowing you to not have to do so many add-ons with it. Things like the Drakthir customization that has its own class in itself. I think what that most reminds me of is like a demon hunter. It's like almost like with the glide anyway that you can have. There's a lot of different aspects of that factor involved as well. We have all kinds of neat little options. They've got new bags. Finally, here's a quick one for those that want to not have to use Bagnon app anymore. There actually is an option if you go into your settings now. This is in Dragonflight. This is not live currently, but they're showing this off in alpha right now as well. And I have seen a few streamers featuring it as well. But you can go in there and change it under the menus option and check mark it. So instead of you seeing like your regular bags, you can hit B in retail and all the bags will open. Like that's my default I go to. But some like them all combined, and you can now check mark it and it will just have you a big square one. There's an extra bag slot that's actually for regents and for cooking items and professional items. So they'll definitely need that as we seem to get from every expansion, we get more and more and more. And then they have these different levels of creative professions that they were talking about, like a gold herb or a silver herb and so on. If that gives you somewhat of an example as well. The cast bar now, instead of a lot of folks that use a lot of the add-on overlays, it has a nice pretty little yellow blasting power up bar to it. It's kind of an interesting little take on it as well. You can play with the mini map up there as well. The clock will be at the top, and a little there. Our new calendar will be like a little tiny square icon. You can change things around. There's a lot of options that will be available. There's folks that will take a really long time and go through customizations of your human character now. And it's really nice that Ian, they're trying to put that little extra time in after the main game is out. That when they have a little extra time, they try to add. Now, obviously, they can't do it all at once, but they're trying to add more customizations as we go. And we started seeing that in the early parts of Shadowlands, as well as a few expansions ago, as we continued to see a little bit more varied customizational options, and some would unlock as you need to go out, say for example the druids, and you'd have to go and get a specific item, allowing you to have this new customization option. A lot of times they want the player to at least experience these things at least one first time around, and they're trying to get to a point where they don't have to repeat it as often. But we know that still happens in some aspects of the game, and everything from craft tables. And we've just seen there's just a lot of customization that there's just no way in a weekend update I could really cover. There's so many variants on this option. Some of the new mounts we're gonna start seeing a lot of like otter type mounts with one of the types I would love to see that they've really upgraded a lot is the walrus faction. See, I can't even get my words out as well. So there'll be a lot of those. There'll be like salamander type looking ones, different color variations of those. We're going to have lava mammoths, literally like water and lava like coming off of these mammoths. It looks so total bad booty without me crossing the line of a swear word. We know it's a family channel, so I try not to say so many of those words if they so slip out every once in a while. But we've got it looks totally cool. And then we've got your lava free mammoths that are out there, dragonflies, and that's dragonflies, like literally like the little dragonflies that fly around with a long tail. We have like that type, and then there's some other dragon flight type dragons as well. If some of you folks might have been watching some of the streamers, they've been showing off like the glide mode. There's like a rescue me mode where you can like blast to other characters to help them heal. That will allow for another way for characters to move around. I've heard in fairly quickly options and another way. Fly with me. You can literally someone else can jump on it and they could fly around a lot like you could do prior. But a lot of times we never see that until the later part of the expansion, major patches coming out after you'd work your way towards flight mode, having access to dragon flight almost immediately for that option as well. Of course, they got the group loot boxes are back as well. They're kind of staying away from legendary types like we've seen in each of the seasons. And speaking of seasons, we've got a few of the different things that are season ending, of course, like the current season PvP mounts. We have the ones for being able to accomplish like the raid or the high mythic. If you do like your mythic 15s or plus 20s, and you get one of running all of the dungeons, you get your access to this particular mount as well, and some of those other variants. And if I missed something, I know I did because the way I wrote it on here looks kind of conjarbled, and I try to write it on a bigger flashboard would be nice. But that's a story for a different day. And I think with that, let's kind of jump over. One thing I've been up to a lot with me and my hubby, we've been literally grinding a whole bunch of Stranger Things, catching up. I've seen seasons 1 through 3 so far, so I so graciously and lovingly went back and watched them, and I said, you know what, I'm kind of glad I did, because it allowed me to like, oh yeah, I forgot that little thing, or yeah, that's right, that piece fit there, and I was trying to remember how certain things fit somewhere, and I'm like, oh, that's right, I forgot that scene, and so it's kind of nice to kind of go back and get like a refresher with it all kind of chunked together. And we're up to about halfway through season 4 right now, as of this recording. And I'm sure by the time the recording will be out, we'll be plugging through the other piece of season 4 as well. It's nice that some of those are like over an hour and like 17, 18 minutes long, and the last episode will be like 2 hours plus. So there's definitely a lot of content in there as well. And I think this week I thought, this is my sound wave, at least the one I remember, not the one that transforms into like an armored vehicle, not the one that transforms into a satellite. And we get it, okay? He was a form of communication, and I don't want to feel like I'm dissing anybody else as if they have someone else, but we thought we would take today and talk about Soundwave, aka one of many Frank Welker's voices that he did. And of course, that's my all-time favorite. Now, I know many other actors have portrayed Soundwave over the years, and we've seen different variants and variations of Soundwave, but this has got to be, even to this day, my ultimate favorite Gen 1, or OG, I guess, as some of them are calling it. The original Soundwave, and you can see I still have one in the package as well. He comes with Buzzsaw, which was another one of the birds. At least I called them. It was a type of bird type as well. I could be more specific if I want to. I'm not trying to be that specific. And a lot of times, Frank Welker would do other voices, and just that fun story I love telling. Whenever I have an opportunity to share it, especially one of my fellow voiceovers, good old Sue Blue, she would always chuckle. And of course, had the opportunities with The Simpsons, Frank would always try to make us, especially when we're in the studio. It's so rare to have gotten the studio such that late in the season of The Simpsons. But those few times or the little minute moments you have an opportunity to be around him, and he's absolutely hysterical. He's always trying to make people laugh. And I loved how Sue would always have talked about some of his other characters that he had voiced as well, like good old Rumble. And when you kind of got him looking like getting close to the microphone and literally like doing one character, turning his head, doing the other, and just sort of talking back and forth, it would always make her chuckle. And that always stuck with me over the years as well. And I thought, wow, since we're talking about Soundwave, we got to talk about his cassettes, of course. So I've always loved Rumble. I thought he was very mischievous. And of course, blue's one of my many colors. But then we had Frenzy, but sadly I don't have the red and black Frenzy. So we have this one of the little decoys they put out. It's a rubberized decoy, and it resembles Rumble. And I thought, you know what? Yes, I know it's purple, but we used to pretend this was Frenzy because we didn't really have Frenzy. We had another like knockoff robot, I think, that was red and black, and sometimes we'd pretend that was Frenzy, or we'd just pretend Rumble was. But those were the two like humanoid bots that we had. And of course, classic Ravage. You can't go out without Ravage. And yes, I know he was redone for Beast Wars and for the new Michael Bay ones, and could almost like a pretender at that point, transforming into a woman. But this, I will always go back to the Ravage. Now, this one was considered my brother's. He's been played with very, very much, and I try to be very, very careful with this one. So I definitely have always loved the Black Ravage. Has been one of my other favorite ones as well. Of course, classic G1 OG. We still have Laserbeak. You can see, sadly, I've lost his little feet here as well, and the head barely stays up as well. Whoopsie, and then the head always likes to fall. That's why I don't usually play with the head at all, because it likes to fall out. So I kind of leave it like half bent. This is just really, really, really old. This is literally OG. These are still the ones that have the metal and plastic together on them, and they're very well played with back in the day. But I had to hang on to these. And then, of course, by the time we got to season 3 of Transformers the movie, we saw a Ratbat introduced as well. Now, this is a reissue of Ratbat. I did have the original Ratbat. I actually sold him, kind of sadly. But this is the re-release of Ratbat. He has a little bit different. The other ones had like the silver. When you had a lot of them, the tapes came with like little silver cannons or blasters or that you'd put on them, and Ratbat came with that. But this one I felt looked much more like the OG animated feature. So I really, really enjoyed this one, and I really wanted to hang on to this one as my feature. And there's little tiny feet here. The other cassette came down, and the feet were like really big, and I felt like this one really encompassed the animated character. They've been making a lot more of these, much more closer to the animated now that they can do that. Because before it was just animation. It was figures put out for the animation to sell product. Now they can actually focus on more of actual looks of classic characters, which is so nice. I love when they put detail into those as well. And of course, then we have now these were a couple of my favorites too that kind of came on. They didn't really feature them that much, but Soundwave's later cassettes that came out was this is Overkill. This is the little Tyrannosaurus Rex one. I really love this one. This is literally the OG Tyrannosaurus Rex. This one's Overkill. And we had Slugfest alongside. This was one of my favorites, the little Stegosaurus type as well. And yeah, it definitely, see, very springy still. And so these were some of my little favorites, the dinosaurs, as I'd call them if you have reference to the Jurassic World. And yeah, we did get to go see that. We saw the new Thor, Love and Thunder. Let me know what you thought of those as well. But I just thought it would take some time to bring out the good old OG Soundwave is one of my all-time favorites. And this is the re-release of him, the G1 that I showed you. I literally bought. I think we bought the last 5 that were clearanced out at Walmart at the time because my poor OG one was just falling apart. Everything was rusting. All the stickers had fallen off. And yeah, these did come with stickers. And even to this day, I feel bad. I'm like, I should be wearing gloves right now and not like touching them as well. But this was the good old Soundwave that I just felt like I had to dig out again and share that with you folks. Sadly, this does not push. It would be amazing. I know there is a fan out there that actually like drilled and put in like real working buttons for the little micro cassettes. And this is the buzzsaw I was mentioning earlier that does fit in there. And they actually added like the little turners in there and made that work. And you could kind of like just put like a little small speaker inside this and add like a little tiny board, and you could do something like a little iPad or iPod if you wanted to. And I've seen someone play with this like an actual volume control right here, and they put in a dialed volume control there and like the on off buttons over here, if you can see that. And it was really amazing. I thought I was like, that is brilliant. And they did that with Blaster too. He had a little more room to work with in the center area of his as well. So yeah, good old classic Soundwave. I've always loved that he had like the belt clip. You could clip it and kind of take it with you and be like, hey, this is my real micro recorder. It was just I always thought that I just always get a kick out of that. I had to share that. That was our Transformer reveal this week out of a Transformer museum. Share with me some of your favorites. Always share with us ones you want to see. I pretty much have most of the OGs and a few re-releases of OGs that, in my opinion, look a little better, closer to the animated counterparts. So I tend to do those. We will be slowly continuing to work our way into season 2 Transformers. I'm just trying to get through the rest of G1 and Gen 1 of any that I had missed. And you might have noticed a lot of the Autobots I had were not OG. Those were the Earthrise re-releases. But in my opinion, I felt those look better than the original G1s. Now, some will say otherwise, and I wanted to at least share that. And I think with that, why don't we go? I love my calendar kittens, sweet little calendar kittens. Did any of you enjoy the Luminaries back here earlier this week? That was like the little micro holiday that kind of boop, boop, kind of popped up. Don't forget the auction house dance party coming up on Friday this week, right before I'm able to do my next weekend update, if I'm able to still make it over there as well. PvP Brawl, Deep Wind Dunk. That one's going on. Arena Skirmish bonus event as well. That's ending this week. World Quest bonus event begins. PvP Brawl, Comp Stomp. That's ending this week. And for any of those lucky little folks that have been enjoying Alpha, please share with me. Let me know, as I had mentioned earlier in this, let me know if you've got access to Alpha. I checked my other accounts and my hubby's accounts, and sadly, too, no Ave, no Alpha yet. So I hope they continue to push those out, and it'd be nice to kind of show some more of that, but a lot of times it's fine. I usually just wait till the OG comes out itself. I mean, the full version. Not OG. I'm using that a lot today, just trying to be a little silly. So enjoy Miss Mora's lovely. I hope you're plugging away through this. I'm about to turn my AC back on. I was trying to give it a little break for a few minutes, but I could see how quickly and so hot it begins to warm up in here so fast. When we have that off, and I literally just turn it off for just a few minutes, but I'll pretty much run it down here during the day to kind of keep a couple of our rooms fairly cooler. And then in the evening, we turn this one off and we go upstairs and turn that one on. And what I really like is the square box air conditioner really doesn't take a lot of time to cool the room off. And then I have my air purifier up there, the bladeless fan, who also pushes some of the cool air our way. And it's a little bit warm at first, but it quickly cools off once we get that going. And we leave like a crack in the door so Miss Mora can come in and go out. And sometimes lately we've been finding her kind of sleeping in. There's a little box we have of like some of my winter socks down in the closet. And she's like all curled out on it. And I'll come over and she'll be like, look up at Miss Mama. And so have a good another week or so. Hang in there. Do your best to pull yourself through whatever you're struggling with. I know I got some struggles coming up the early part of August, and then some more struggles about mid-September. And I had a really rough night last night. I had another one of my episodes acting up. Normally we have fireworks on the 4th, and they were either firing off what was left over or one of the little like Farmer Hill celebrations or something they were using for the rest of the fireworks, but some went off, and sadly, thanks to my other half and Miss Mora, it kind of helped me through it, and I was having a really rough time last night and had a hard time getting through the evening for a good like half hour. It took me to really kind of come down, and I had my earbuds in, and I was crying, and I was just rocking and having a really rough time. Some of my PTSD was coming through, and it's always tough sometimes when I don't expect these fireworks to go off. Gosh, if that thing had been any closer, I was telling my hubby this, and if it was any louder, I probably felt like I would have, like a cat on Looney Tunes, like Sylvester did that one time, or has done a few times before, and like fly to the ceiling and like grip on and fly. I swear to God, I felt like I was going to fly through the roof, the amount I jumped. But this is what happens to me. I still have these things to this day, and you can't just throw medication at it. But I just wanted to share another quick world experience out there. And I hope you can find another week to plug through and come through the other side, and just take a couple of things to contemplate on this week. Call me next time I'm on, and once again, you know the drill. We will see you later.